Today on Commander Replay, we ask the question, how awesome does a deck need to be named Seismic Bear Hunt? Find out next on Commander Replay. We have 3 new Patreon supporters, Misery Loves Company, Ryan Flannery, and Undecaffeinated. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below. And be sure to use the TCG affiliate player link if you're buying Ikoria and Commander 2020 cards, as it helps support the channel and it doesn't cost you anything. And finally, if you want to sign up to play paper webcam games with me for the cost of $10, please check the Eventbrite link in the description below. Welcome back, everyone. I got some jank for you today. We are playing Illuna Apex of Wishes, and I'm calling this deck Illuna Bear Hunt, or I'm thinking about Illuna Seismic Bears. If you guys have ever seen the Zombie Hunt deck in Modern, that's essentially this deck. This deck is about 88 lands. Here, we'll take a quick peek at it while everyone's loading up. It's about 88 lands, and these are the cards in the deck. So our 2 main win conditions are Seismic Assault and Ayula's Influence. We have Treasure Hunt. Most of these other cards cascade, so they should cascade into one of these things, either the Seismic, the Treasure Hunt. Real question mark on this Tectonic Reformation, but it does seem like it could be good just because we're going to have a lot of lands, so it's a bit risky. It potentially keeps us off of Treasure Hunt, which we do need to hit, but I think there is a lot of upside there as well, and pretty much the same story on Cavalier of Flame, because otherwise we could just hit straight into Maelstrom Wanderer, Ethereum Horn, Bloodbraid Elf, Throes of Chaos, all the stuff, and just cascade, cascade, cascade. So yeah. So this deck will be silly, and we've got Tectonic Reformation in the opening hand. No red mana, that's awkward. But yeah, I think we're going to keep this hand based on that, and have a ton of scry lands, cycling lands, lands that draw cards. Yeah, we've actually got a bunch of them in hand, so I think we're going to keep this hand. The other thing that's in this deck is lands that make creatures, because we do need to mutate our commander for this to work. So, like I said, this is some jank. We'll go ahead and keep this hand, like I said, and yeah, we're going to have to find our way into some red mana. Hopefully that happens, but we've got a Makokoro, we've got the Reformation. We've got some stuff. So, I'll explain what our commander actually does. We're playing Illuna Apex of Wishes today. It is 2 in Teamer for a 6/6, and you can mutate it for 3 essentially Teamer. There's a weird hybrid in there. But it's a 6/6 flying trample. If you mutate it, exile cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-land permanent card. Put that card onto the battlefield or into your hand. So in our case, we'll probably be putting them into our hand most of the time, especially the Cascade stuff, because we do want to cast those cards. Cascade is not an ETB, it is a cast trigger. But once we do that, we cascade into all the goodness and should draw a million lands and get down to the wildness. There's an Inkmoth Nexus. That's the creature land that we need. Excellent. So what are we doing right here? We've got a tap land. That one's also a tap land. We'll go tap land and scry. Could use some red mana. Gonna need that at some point. There's the red mana. All right, we'll just keep that right there. And we'll pass the turn like that. Let's take a look at what our opponents are playing today. First up, we've got Maru Powell, also piloting Illuna Apex of Wishes. Don't know that they'll be doing the same amount of jank that we'll be doing, so if some of you came here looking for some sort of normal game with Illuna, you may find that with Maru Powell. Again, I don't know what they're doing, but hopefully something a little bit less weird than what we're doing. So for those just trying to get a look at the deck, hopefully they'll be able to provide us with that today. Next up, we've got Hammerbangers piloting King Macar, the Gold Curse. Not good. King Macar, once it gets going, is repeatable removal, and it's exile of all things, which I don't love. So that could be pretty annoying. I've faced it in the past a few times, and once it is going, it is annoying. Repeatable removal is good, even if you got to jump through a hoop or two, so cool little commander. And then finally, we've got Rogaku piloting Cromat. No idea what they're up to. I did tell opponents to bring some janky decks today, so I think the jank should be strong in this game. Hoping to see some really interesting builds, some really spicy stuff, and just, I don't know. Let's have a weird game of Commander. Rampant growth for the Cromat opponent. There's the Smoldering Crater we talked about, so go ahead and play that. And then I think I'll cycle this Lonely Sandbar. So the fact that a lot of these lands have activated abilities on them does give us something to do while we're waiting to cast our commander and try to set up all this nonsense. So cycle the Lonely Sandbar. It's a high market. That could be relevant. The Cavalier is in the deck, so if we end up discarding a lot of lands for some reason, that gives us some sort of like secondary win condition. Thornwood falls for opponent. They gain 1 life. Puts them to a commanding lead of 41. Opponent said their deck is King Macar driving cars. That should be interesting. See what they got in the garage? Here comes a Cub Warden for the Cromat. It's a mutate creature, so maybe doing a Cromat mutate thing. I saw some people talking about it in the in Discord over the past few days, so interested to see that. It has lifelink, and when it mutates, create 2 1/1 white cat creatures with lifelink. So thinking about just on the off chance there's the wheel, let's get the Mokokoro into play should a wheel happen. Let's also play this Tectonic Reformation. Now all the cards in our hand have cycling. Nothing we can do with the one colorless as I'm seeing it, so we will pass the turn. Oh, I forgot. We've got Violent Outburst in hand. Huh. That means, so if we Violent Outburst, that means that we will hit Treasure Hunt. Oh, that's interesting. Now, if we hit Treasure Hunt without Reliquary Tower, it's going to be a really bad time. We might just wait on that. We're going to wait on that. Temur Ascendancy for opponent. It's a pretty good one. Dread Presence for opponent. Do we roll them dice? So, if we Violent Outburst, the only thing we can hit is Treasure Hunt. But, yeah, there's a lot of other stuff we could hit that I'm not quite ready for the Treasure Hunt yet. So, like, yeah, we could go for it, but I think it's just going to backfire. Especially if we hit, like, Seismic instead of a Eula's. A Eula's gives us some sort of, like, lasting presence on board. Here comes a Trumpeting Gnar for opponent, and got some funky altered art for it. It's going to mutate. They're going to create some cat tokens. And we'll also create a 3/3 green beast token. Yeah. Brings us back to our turn. There's a Misty Rainforest. Let's play one of these fetch lands. Let's get the colored mana going. Sacrifice the Windswept Heath. Got 1 blue source. How many blues do we need for this thing? We need 2 blue. So I think I'm going to get Taiga right here. Then we can cycle a bunch of lands. We could Violent Outburst. Yeah, no, we don't want a Violent Outburst. We could Mokokoro. Could Mokokoro and cycle a land? That seems fine. We'll do all that at the end step, I think. Yeah, so pass like that. Here comes an Eternal Scourge for opponent. You may cast it from exile. Oh, those are always weird. Hope there's no food chain. I mean, I doubt there's a food chain, but it's still a weird card. You have to wonder why opponent's running it. Might have some weird thing to do with it. We will see. And it'll get haste off of the Temur Ascendancy. No card draw, though. Swamp coming into play. That's going to trigger the Dread Presence. Opponent's going to draw a card and lose a life. Yeah, it's always a plan, right? Sky Sovereign Console Flagship coming into play. Yeah, so this is going to be a vehicles deck from opponent. Which does make sense because it allows you to tap your commander. I do like that idea. So they get to do 3 damage to a target. Do you go for the thing that they can just cast? I guess they can only come from exile. Yeah, they're going to shoot that. That seems fair. So when it becomes a target of spell or ability, exile it. So opponent's going to cast their commander, Cromat, coming into play. Got to read Cromat's abilities again. So destroy target blocking or blocked creature, flying, regenerate, +1/+1, or put it on top of its owner's library. Interesting set of abilities. You know, that's a commander that I've been meaning to build around for a long time and just haven't done it. Should take that off the to-do list at some point, but we did just get an injection of a ton of new commanders with Ikoria and Commander 20. Commander 20, not on Magic Online yet. Sometime at the end of May on that one, but it's going to keep me busy working on a lot of new decks, so going to have to wait for a rainy day on Cromat. All right, so we'll go to opponent's end step. They don't do any attacking, and then we'll activate Mokokoro. So everyone will draw a card. Ooh, we draw Throes of Chaos. Yeah. Cool card that this is the first time I'm using it, so I'm pretty excited about it. And then we will cycle this Seagate Wreckage, probably the least useful of like all the land draw spells that we have, or all the lands that draw cards or cycle or do stuff like that. So we'll pitch that one. And we find ourselves a Temple of Abandon. There's a Hainware Battlements. Question is, what land do we want this turn? Actually, we should wait just in case we hit Treasure Hunt, but I think we're on Throes of Chaos right here. So play Throes of Chaos and see what we cascade into. That's a Seismic Assault. Yeah, let's just cast that Seismic Assault. How many cards do we reveal? A lot. Well, opponents probably know what we're up to now. Throes of Chaos into the graveyard. Wow, that's going to be really good with this deck because we can just retrace it in our hands full of lands. Which land do we need the most? This one comes in tapped. Maybe we just go for that one. Yeah, let's go for the Temple. So that'll come in. We'll get to scry one. Cycle land on top.
There are better things and there are worse things. Maybe we'll just keep that right there. Actually, well, all of our lands have cycling. Unless the enchantments get blown up, we'll just hang on to it. Hang on to it just in case. And pass like that. So the next step is Violent Outburst and get wild with Seismic Assault. There's a Glorybringer. Yeah, that's a pretty good card. Teamer Ascendancy is going to let them draw. Glorybringer going on the attack. Does not exert. Swings it into the King Macar, though. Opponent plays a Swamp, going to draw a card and lose a life. Plays a Springleaf Drum, sure. Good card. I've been using that more and more. If you get into like CEDH type stuff where you have probably a lot of hate bears, low mana curve, a lot of cheap creatures, it's a pretty good mana rock. I actually prefer this. In decks that have enough creatures, I prefer this over Cromox because I don't like discarding the card. King Macar into play. Yep. Here comes a Chittering Harvester. The text is really small on these mutate creatures. When it mutates, each opponent sacrifices a creature. Well, it's not going to bother us at all. I think I'm going to save the Violent Outburst just in case we run into a Eula's Influence, and it does give us a pump spell. Although, oh man, Violent Outburst guarantees Treasure Hunt. The other ones do not. If we flash back the Throes of Chaos with Retrace, we could hit a Eula's Influence, and that would stop the Cascade, but if we hit Shardless Agent, that would cascade us into Treasure Hunt. We'll give it a try. We're here for funsies. Let's just see what happens. Opponent doing some attacks, kind of spreading it around. We'll just, we'll stay back. We could burn some things out with Seismic Assault, but it's no big deal. Oh, one thing that we can check. We did not pass Reliquary Tower when we cascaded the first time. That's important to keep in mind. So everyone takes a little bit of damage. There's the Desert. What lands do we need most? Probably need the Inkmoth Nexus, just in case things go wrong. Actually, no. No. Play the Throes of Chaos. We need to hope we hit the Reliquary Tower. We need to discard a land. Let's discard the Cycle. That one's 2 to cycle. This one costs life. No, it's only life to make colored mana. Yeah, we'll go for the Desert. So that'll cascade. Oh, this is going to be a big one. We hit a Eula's Influence. Okay. So it's not going to be everything right here. Cast the Eula's Influence. But now we can make some bears if we need to. And I'll check in a moment to see if we passed. Yeah, we passed Reliquary Tower. What does that mean? That means Reliquary Tower is on the bottom of our library? Oh, I feel like that's not great. I feel like that's not great for what we want to be doing. Ooh, Violent Outburst is an instant. We might just do that the end step of next turn. We've got a land play left. What are we playing? Play the Inkmoth Nexus. Yeah, play the Inkmoth Nexus. And pass the turn like that. Illuna passes without doing anything. I wonder if they're holding up like Ether Spouts or something like that. Some sort of instant speed interaction. Opponent's commander untaps, they get a gold token. Yeah, the removal party's about to get started over there. Luckily, we're making a lot of tokens and burning things out. Ooh, Icy Manipulator for opponent. Fun. Scarecrow. Here comes Bracos Apex Forever. It's like a tree Triceratops thing. You may cast it from its graveyard if you mutate it. It's a 6/6 with trample. Opponents having other thoughts. They're going to tap the Cromat. And they use Springleaf Drum to make mana with King Macar. Yup. So Cromat getting tapped. I'm going to cycle this Water Grove thing. We get a Desert. There's a lot of abilities on this thing. So it mutated onto the Cromat. It has all the Cromat abilities, and it is tapped. Opponent going to send it all at King Macar. I told him to send it my way, because I think we're pretty close. I think this next turn's going to be a doozy. But yeah, opponent sending removal their way, and they not liking it too much. Okay, I guess we'll just keep chilling and doing our thing. There's an island. Let's play the Misty Rainforest. Could use a few more dual lands in play, I think. I'm just going to leave all the mana up, and we'll try to Violent Outburst at the end step. Opponent's going to play this Hieroglyphic Illumination. It's going to draw 2 cards, instant speed. Does have cycling, and they float a green in the process. Nothing doing with the green, so they untap. Oh, hey, I just realized that this Misty Rainforest can shuffle our library, which means that Reliquary Tower could end up in a place that would be ideal, as opposed to a place that is not ideal. Genesis Ultimatum, new one, it's the Teamer Ultimatum. Look at the top 5 cards of your library, put any number of permanent cards from among them onto the battlefield, the rest into your hand, exile this card. So, 5 cards, permanents into play, rest into the hand. It's not awful. Maybe a little pricey at 7 mana, but it does put things directly into play. If you're playing some sort of like Teamer ramp deck with a lot of big stuff in it, you could definitely see that being solid. Opponent gets themselves a land, a From Beyond, a Thrix, and they reveal this Karuga. I don't know where that's... Oh, are they playing Karuga as their companion? I don't know what's going on here. No, it should be in the command zone, right? Opponent gets to draw off of the Thrix coming into play. Sure. Thrix coming in our way. Yep. We deserve this for what we're about to do. We go down to 31. Opponent discards a Kozilek. It's going to reshuffle their graveyard. Perhaps we need something like that in this deck. I don't know which card exactly. Now, this can put an Eldrazi into play, can it? Yes, it can. Yes, it can. Maybe we'll have to try that build to the deck. Just play with a single Eldrazi in your deck. Why not? Are there any permanents that make you draw your library? The other thing I was thinking about with this deck, with this style of build, was doing like Thassa's Oracle, Labman, or Jace. But there's a lot of weird sequencing stuff that has to happen. If you cast Illuna and only have 2 or 3 cards in the deck, and then you hit, like, let's just say Labman, or even Thassa's Oracle, then you don't really have any gas to do anything else. And then you're kind of just stuck, and you don't really have a great way to get to either the Treasure Hunt, Demonic Consultation. Well, no, I guess no Consultation in this deck. Been talking about too much EDH lately, so Consultation not going to work in this deck. But Treasure Hunt would be the one you want. And I'm not sure if there's other Teamer cards that... Oh, you want to be ridiculous? Guided Passage. Maybe that's the one. Maybe this is a Guided Passage deck. I didn't even think about that when I was building this. Let me read the words on Guided Passage here, see if it's what we want. Reveal the cards in your library. An opponent chooses from among them a creature, a land, and a non-creature, non-land. Oh, hey now. You put the chosen cards in your hand, then shuffle your library. Interesting. So that can find us into the Treasure Hunt every time, which could be cool. You'd have to run exactly Labman and Treasure Hunt, I think, or Thassa's Oracle, one of the two. I guess you could run both with Guided Passage and it would be fine. I'm wondering if maybe this Cascade version is still a little bit better. Although Guided Passage still be decent value if you Cascade into it. It'll still get you a lot of the pieces that you need. Opponent sends in an attack our way. We're down to 28. I think that was our way. Yeah, opponent gets us for 2. There's a Mutilate, so all the creatures getting blued up. That's why we didn't main phase any of this. King Macar back to play. Now, I am worried if we don't draw enough cards with Treasure Hunt. That could get weird. Then we're gonna have to find out what this deck is really made of, which I haven't really been playing like that for the past few turns. I've been kind of playing it loosey goosey. We do have that Cavalier though, and that we can go get that with Illuna or some semblance of a creature that cascades into it. It'll take time to do that though. That it's gonna take a couple turns, so opponents can do a lot in that time. It's now turn 8. So, not exactly early anymore. Definitely getting to the point of the game where even some of the jankier decks can start pulling out wins. Now, a board wipe just happened, so it will take opponents a minute to rebuild. But, some bad blood there. Opponent's going to Toxic Deluge X3 just to kill the King Macar. Wow. Opponent's going to tap a land? Yep. Icy Manipulator is like surprisingly disruptive. I know it's a little pricey at 4 and 1, but once it's in play, it can do some stuff. Opponent floats the mana. Opponent's going to play a Once Upon a Time, sure. Opponent reveals a Vadrock, Apex of Thunder. Yeah. Elemental Dinosaur Cat. What's up? I'm excited about that one. I want to try it out. Whenever it mutates, you may cast target non-creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. So essentially flashback. Pretty cool. On non-creature spells, 3 or less. A lot of good stuff you can get with that. Alright, well, let's go to the end step here. Fire off this Violent Outburst. So it'll Cascade. There's Treasure Hunt. Let's go Treasure Hunting. We need this Treasure Hunt to come up big. If we don't draw a lot of cards, it's gonna be a problem. We have 25 cards in hand. Seems pretty good to me. Did we draw the Reliquary Tower? I don't think that we did. So I think we start making some bears. Oh, we have the Cavalier in hand. All right, we are in a good place. I think we can finish this up. We should be able to, yeah, we should be able to win. I don't know, maybe one opponent's at 47. 47 is quite a bit. All right, we've discarded down to 7. And it's going to give us a bunch of bears. We have the Cavalier. How much mana do we actually have? So we'll be able to pump 1 time on the Cavalier, which is, a non-zero amount of power. We have enough red. We're going to need to crack out a land for some red mana. Ooh. There's a chance that there may not be enough red left in the deck. We will see. Should have cracked this first. Let's do it now. Hope it doesn't bite us. Okay, there's a volcanic island. Grab that. Anything else to do with the end step? Let's just activate Makokoro. Ooh, that's a Kessig Wolfrun. Fun card. Bringing it back to our turn. There's a Cinderglade. Let's play the Cavalier. Cavalier will trigger. I think we're just going to pitch everything except this high market. Cycle all these lands into a bunch of stuff. Play the high market. Activate the Cavalier. Give our stuff +1/+0 and haste. And start doing some attacking. Alright, that's 13, 16, 19. Opponent saying GG. Send a few at our other opponent. And a few more at Rogaku. I did not count the number of lands in graveyard. And it looks like we forgot one. Oops. Looks like there's at least 20 lands in our graveyard, so as long as we get a little bit of damage in, everything should be fine. So opponents survive barely, then we'll use the high market, sack the Cavalier, and this should do it. If it doesn't, we've got the Seismic Assault in play already. Boom! Seismic Bear Hunt getting there. Oh man. Alright, maybe I underestimated this deck just a little bit. It wasn't terrible, but I think we also drew pretty well. We had Tectonic Reformation in the opener, which is a really big deal for the Cascades. And I actually felt like I did want the Cavalier there right at the end. It was actually very impactful. I don't know if we're going to have enough damage without it, so I think it is worth the include, even though it kind of messes up the Cascade chain a little bit. So yeah, Seismic Bear Hunt. Obviously you have to build your deck in a very certain way so that you're cascading into Treasure Hunt. And yeah, we have lots of Cascade creatures in the deck. We have I think all the Cascade options available in these colors. As far as lands, we have a ton of lands that draw, cycle, or become creatures. So in case we need a creature to mutate the Illuna onto. But yeah, this is Seismic Bear Hunt. There's probably ways to make this deck a little bit better, but I don't know. There's always going to be a limiting factor in that you have to build around Treasure Hunt, and we Treasure Hunted pretty good right there. If we don't, things are not going to go well. A bad Treasure Hunt could be lights out for this deck, so that's a thing to watch out for. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.